You know, this reminds me of Ronald Reagan. You remember one of his legendary stories is that once he said, when he was accused of tolerating Holocaust denial, he said, "No, it's not true. Whenever at my dinner table there are people who deny Holocaust, I strongly oppose them." Well, the question being what kind of friends he has when he has all the time opposed them.
That's Zizek. This is 5 Quadrant, the movie business podcast from Father Son Productions. I'm Tom Noblock.
I'm Chris Vega.
We haven't done the intro.
I don't think we've said our names until the end.
We keep forgetting to introduce what the show is, so I'm going to try again with this.
No, I think we do the intro. I just don't think we introduce ourselves.
Maybe.
I think we say 5 Quadrant.
5 Quadrant. This is 6 Quadrant, we've decided, because we're both a little solemn, morose, somber, all the S words. And part of that is related to our little clip there. Not really Zizek. Zizek's, I'm cool with Zizek. He's not keeping me down.
Who is he? I don't know who he is.
He's a philosopher.
Okay.
Philosophizer. He's alive, obviously, because he's talking.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, and so he's always very disheveled. He looks like, if you saw him,
he reminds me of somebody, but I couldn't place it.
I feel like he looks like the dad in The Squid and the Whale. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
He almost looks like what's his name, the community writer guy.
Dan Harmon.
Yeah, he has that bearded Dan Harmon look.
He's like Dan Harmon meets Jeff Daniels and Lars von Trier.
Yeah, it's his philosopher alter ego.
Yes. Well, he's one of these guys who I feel like when you see a philosopher, when you see who you think is a philosopher, they don't look as disheveled as this guy tends to.
I don't know. I feel like this is just the new look, like the t-shirt and that's it. Like just kind of baggy, wrinkly, little wrinkly. He's too busy thinking to do his laundry.
Well, I mean, so I pulled that quote because our main topic today is basically, so there's a theory out there that fascism is good for art.
I can see that.
And that'll kind of be our main topic as we get into things. But the more narrow one is a Donald Trump presidency, which seems to be indicating that it's going to be fairly unpleasant. Yeah. For those of us who aren't white nationalists, at least, is simply the implication that it could be bad, and then the possibility that it will be bad, a good sign for the movie industry?
Well, maybe. I mean, I'm sure afterwards there will be a lot of entertaining movies. Maybe, I guess during, I could see like a ongoing spoof, essentially, of the presidency that we're living in.
We'll get into whether, spoof or what exactly it might do. We'll talk about that kind of as we get into it. I've found that even just personally for me, I feel like I didn't realize it before, but very much the scripts that I've written to this point were written under an Obama presidency.
We'll see what difference that makes.
I think it will make something of a difference, partially just because I think the characters that I write are the ones who there's maybe a level of comfort with an Obama presidency that there isn't with a Trump presidency. And I don't know if it manifests in an explicit way or not, but I feel like even just my calculations of how these characters would interact with each other is going to be different now. Like, okay. I'm glad that I did not wait to finish writing Green on Green until the end of this election, because I think it would be a different movie.
The political scene's different. It's a different world now.
It is.
Well, not yet, but soon. Like in January.
Kind of.
Yeah. They're getting ready.
Even Naomi Jones, I think, would be a slightly different movie under the Trump presidency.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
I don't think you could not acknowledge the politics, I guess.
Yeah.
And have that movie.
The Hispanic femaleness of our lead.
That's part of it.
Yeah. And it would be a little more obvious, I feel, for some reason.
Yeah. So it's weird to me now that I feel like that movie is dated just because of who got elected president. In a way that if Hillary was president, I don't think it would be.
I'm sure that I think our fan base will still enjoy it. I mean, I don't think there are too many neo-Nazis in our...
No, it doesn't. I don't think it, invalidates it, but I just think there are things that when I watch that movie, I can see that it was written while Obama was president now.
You could feel it. You could
yeah. We do have an Obama reference in Adaptation, I guess. So that one's officially dated.
That one's...
But in a more subtle sense, I feel like just the stories I tell and the characters that I'm working with right now, I don't know that I would write them exactly the same way with Trump as president as I have with Obama as president.
I feel like everything's going to be gray and overcast for the next
it's just going to turn into
48 years, weather permitting,
You think he'd run for a second term?
Well, don't you have to try to? Like, has anybody not ran for a second term?
People,
Really?
There's people who either they didn't do it either because of health reasons. There's like various other
If they
reasons
die,
why
it
maybe they
doesn't
don't.
count.
Or,
I mean, but come on. I mean, you're gonna try.
But he doesn't even want to have this first term.
I know, but like, who doesn't want to be president at that point? I mean, I feel like if you're already there, right?
Yeah, may as well.
I've done everything else.
Where do I go from here? There's probably like, because I mean, you think about the people who become president when they leave the presidency. Outside of like, I think there was one president who ended up on the Supreme Court after the presidency.
Is that allowed? I guess there's probably no rule like specifically against it.
I think in the current very politicized climate, you wouldn't see it happen because there'd be pushback. But I remember people were saying, why doesn't Hillary, when she's president, make Obama, fill the Scalia seat?
What kind of qualifications do you need to be a judge, though?
Well, you should have law. A lot of law.
I don't know. I didn't know if there was like a specific kind of
branch of schooling. You should have a lot of law degree. You should have a lot of
law degrees. Got to go back.
You have a lot of experience in the law. Like,
okay.
Obama, I believe, does have a law degree. I don't know that he was a judge. I think a judge, it would make sense to be on the Supreme Court.
I was confused that apparently there's not a set number of judges that we have to have. Like they were saying whenever if Hillary won and the Republicans still control Congress and whatnot, they're going to shoot down whoever she suggests.
Yeah, because we don't need 9 unless Trump is president. I mean, then we need 9.
I feel like you do need an odd number though, because then you have a tiebreaker. Like guaranteed, you can't have a 50-50 decision that way, and that's important.
You could maybe go down to 7.
Yeah,
but you shouldn't just stay at 8.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Even then, you should still have a majority and more than just more than a 51% is a majority. You know what I mean? I feel like 51% is still too close to half and half to be considered a majority.
Yeah, I mean, you can win the presidency without the majority.
Yeah, I think you should need at least 60%. I think you need 60-40, to have a true majority.
Yeah, well, then you'd have a real mandate to lead, I think, which
I mean,
you certainly don't see.
You would have to actually earn the spot, which is just, I don't know if we could pull that one off.
I mean, right now you've got a president who got 46% of the vote, 1% less than his component.
Yeah.
As far as mandates go. And the craziest thing, I believe it was, or not 26, did I say 26? 26% of the total population voted for him. And then
isn't that ridiculous? Only a quarter.
Yeah,
that's weird because half the population didn't even vote, which is dumb.
There's an old Gore Vidal quote that I think is funny where he's saying half the population doesn't vote and half the population doesn't read newspapers. One hopes it's the same half. And it's nothing new. It's just I think we're more invested in this particular election than some.
I
other
still
ones.
can't believe it's only 50% because I thought about that same thing the other day. I was like, wait, 50% of the population voted, and Trump got less than 50% of that.
It's not that much.
Wow, yeah.
I think they came out with even the primaries. It was like 9% of the population voted for either one of Trump or Hillary.
Huh. What? What?
In the primaries?
Oh, and only I see. I didn't vote in primaries though. I mean,
no, but you think about who's going to be president. 9% of the population voted for those people. It's not like it invalidates it entirely, but it's just like it's crazy to think that few people.
I feel like they tend to hold primaries and whatnot at 2 p.m. on a weekday, and it's like, how am I supposed to get out of work and or school to go to.
I don't know when they open actually. I don't know that it's been a factor for me, but so we've gotten into all this. It's weird. It's weird for me to think that the movies, even that were in my head I'm thinking I might write this next. Mm-hmm. Now I'm thinking it's going to be slightly different.
There's going to be a different big guy staring down from the chair.
Different big guy staring down from the chair. That's the weirdest
presidential chair. From the Oval Office.
New Abe Lincoln.
Yeah. They're going to have different search parameters at the NSA now. Times they are changing.
Well, yeah, Naomi certainly would be the one where if you're going to make an explicit Trump reference.
I feel like that might. I feel like we might have to add one in post. Have her come back.
Trump. I don't know where it would fit or who exactly would do it, but it just seems like that should be part of it now.
Yeah, maybe during the cave people part. I feel like
maybe that's hardest to go reshoot. Yeah. I guess we'd have to just double line in.
Yeah. We can just redo that whole part. I mean,
there's not any political references, I don't think, in that movie, overtly.
Not that I've remembered so far, now that I think about it, which is weird for you. It's all movie references this time.
That one, well, yeah, because I think I don't try to do that many movie references because people, why? What's the point? Although that one's definitely, it's about movies, so
Yeah,
it made
that
sense.
makes sense,
And
yeah.
then we can hide the fake people too, who we made up for the movie for our movie.
I still don't. I haven't looked up some of them, so like some of them I'm pretty sure are real. But then there's like the occasional like you quote like a producer and stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't know about that one.
Joel Silver. Yeah, we'll see. How is Naomi?
She's good.
Any progress?
I almost had like a little. I almost panicked. I accidentally pushed a button and it switched me back to adaptations. Like when I opened up the laptop this morning to make
it's all gone.
Make a copy for Houston. Yeah, I was freaking out because like I couldn't find like there's that library file that you can normally dig up in the
kind of
Finder,
hard, yeah.
and it, I just couldn't find it. And then like on that sidebar where it has all the clips, if you scroll all the way up, there's like it says like adaptation, and then there's like untitled, and I just clicked on untitled, and I got lucky, and it brought me back to where I was.
And no progress lost?
No progress lost.
Oh,
Not that I know of. There might
God.
be like a minute or two, but I'm pretty sure everything's still there.
Well, that's terrifying. Did I ever tell you almost a weekend when we actually lost the whole movie?
Oh no! Wow. Yeah, that's really what I thought happened. I'm like, oh crap, I'm gonna see Tom later today, and he's gonna be freaking pissed. I'm gonna have to ask him to do a quick recut, like the whole movie.
I think that would throw off our entire spring release.
I don't know. I think if I sat down and did the audio, I could get it done in like a few weeks. It's just I don't have like a few weeks of total time to sit down,
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, like,
Since I've done
if I had to
already.
literally re-edit the whole movie,
Oh yeah.
I'd be like, screw that April release. I don't even know.
Push it back to May. No.
Yeah, like of 2018.
Well, so that was my little panic attack for today.
I'm really glad to hear that I don't have to re-edit the whole thing. You know what would be hilarious is if you did that and you were so afraid of telling me that you took it on yourself to edit the movie to...
That was my backup plan. It was like, I think I've seen enough that I could maybe piece it back together, And I'm like,
just never tell me.
I'm like, maybe I'll just pull the script up. But I thought like there were a few parts where you did like some really quick little cuts. I'm like, there's no way that I could like fake that one. I'd have to like do it on my own.
Well, I'm glad that's not the case. That's good to hear. So we're going to go to our break. We'll be back with box office and movie news.
Oh, yeah.
And in, what, Quad 2? Is that what we call it?
Quad 2 of the first hemiquad. You just put it down the road.
Quad 2?
Quad 2. The number quad.
What do we got, number quad?
Number quad. Number 1, I'm not really too surprised by this at all.
Well, what's the week, by the way? Let's just get some dates,
The
because we've
week?
been off for a couple weeks.
I don't even know what week it is. What is today? Today is November 20th,
Alright.
so it would have been everything from the 13th to the 20th. That sound about right?
This would be, I think, just the weekend.
Oh, just the weekend?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, this weekend, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is $75 million.
Fantastic Beasts.
Beasts.
I made 75?
$75 million. That's an awfully round number, so I wonder if that was just like a round cutoff point at that point. No, it seems weird that you could make
little suspicious.
exactly $75 million.
I don't know if I trust that.
But their budget was $180.
That's got to be a little less than they spent on most Harry Potters, I would think.
Yeah, you'd hope so, because it doesn't look anywhere near as, not as good even to say, but I saw the trailer and
I haven't even seen a trailer.
Oh, it just looked bad.
Well, Eddie Redmayne's just annoying.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard... Can I spoil something about that?
I don't care.
You don't care? I don't really care either.
All right.
But I saw a couple just people on Twitter tweeting about it. The tweeters
Okay.
about it. And the consensus that I saw was basically people were like... There's people who like Harry Potter, of course, were the ones who saw it. So they're like, it was really good until Johnny Depp shows up
What?
as the bad guy
Oh.
and ruins it.
Really, that's pretty bad if you could have Johnny Depp ruin a villain. I feel like you don't get to see him as a villain very
That's
often.
true.
That should have been fun.
My understanding is that they found Johnny Depp to be too goofy and caricature.
Was he doing Pirates of the
must have
Caribbean
been.
/ what's his Hunter S. Thompson again? Like just relying on the same old bumbling walk thing.
Or just the annoying pretending to be British thing that he does.
I'm not really as fond as Johnny Depp as everyone else seems to be.
Are people still fond of him?
I don't know. I think it's waning. Like
Yeah.
it's going down. Like I think ever since Pirates, it's kind of been dropping a bit slowly, ever so slowly.
I would say Pirates was the peak.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Ever since,
So,
after
yeah.
that, like it kind of started going.
People were
down.
really happy
Yeah.
in like the post Pirates. There was like a couple of years where everyone was like, "He's the best person in the whole world.
Yeah.
We have to have him." And then he just kept doing the same thing over and over. And
All like the reviews I've heard for the new
Fantastic Beasts.
Harry Potter with like quotes around it. Harry Potter movie.
Harry Beasts.
It's not a good movie, but it's more Harry Potter. It's kind of like the vibe. Is the vibe I'm getting from it. It's like
exactly.
they're like, wow, it's more cool stuff from the Harry Potter world. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but I mean, I like. the books were better, I guess, than the movies.
Did you read those books?
I did read those books.
Did you like those books?
I liked them when I was reading them, yeah.
Yeah,
But I mean,
younger.
we were significantly younger at the time, and
I was just too much of an old man to enjoy them, I think.
By like 5, 6, and 7, I think I started losing it because I mean, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4 all came out like I don't even know, significantly earlier than the last 3, I think.
There's a gap somewhere in there.
There was a pretty big gap between 4 and 5, I'm sure. And I was definitely into them more, like when I was younger, and they were, I don't know, more interesting. But
and so
they turned into like a Twilight-y drama at one point.
So Harry Beasts and Where to Potter Them.
Yeah.
It's like a prequel, but that's not directly related.
Well, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them was the title of their book about Fantastic Beasts and where you can find them.
When did they read that?
In Hagrid's class. They mentioned it for like a minute.
Hagrid taught a class?
Yeah, and
I'm out of the loop
in
here.
like the first book for like 10 minutes or some shit. He's like, "Hey, these are animals," and then someone gets attacked, and then they were like, "Well, we can't have you teaching that anymore because you suck at it."
So Eddie Redmayne comes in and he's like, "Oh,
see the main character?
Beasts, and they're hairy,
and here's
Potter.
where you can find them.
You're a Harry Potter.
You're a Harry Beast Potter. Where can I find you?"
All right, I think we're out of.
Yeah, okay,
we're used all our Harry Potter material here.
Anyways, it made a lot of money. It's number 1 right now.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Doctor Strange.
Love.
Made $17.6 million just this weekend.
But that's got to be up pretty high.
Oh man, yeah. Total worldwide is $571 million.
And they spend what, 165?
165, yeah.
That's
a pretty good return.
You got to hand it to Marvel.
Yeah.
They don't give you $200 million until you've earned it. They go with a little less than that if they think it's a little iffy, and they make their money back.
Yeah.
Because I mean, 500 million, or what is it? Almost 600 million.
Almost 600.
Almost 600 million on 165 looks even better than 600 million on $200 million budget.
Yeah.
So
it's that little trick they do at like grocery stores where it's $1.99 instead of $2. So you're like, oh, it's $1, not $2, but it's it's $2.
But it does look better.
Yeah, it does.
And they saved themselves $40 million that way.
That was much more than I expected for that. I mean, I thought Doctor Strange would kind of taper off a bit, but I guess it looks like in the U.S. it kind of did. But I guess foreign, it's the larger.
It just looked lame.
Yeah,
I'm even as a
done.
superhero thing, I was just like, I don't even know.
Well, I feel like it was their one attempt to do something a little more mind-bending and like an actual like, I'm thinking more of like a fun Christopher Nolan-y type superhero.
Yeah, well,
movie.
it looked like Inception, but without all the exposition.
But like from what I understood from the reviews, is the Inception-y looking stuff was all just, oh, that's their magic powers. They fold the world, and it just makes it look like that one scene from Inception all over again, and that's like it. And it's like, okay. That's boring.
Well, I'm amazed that we as a culture have not gotten to the point where everyone has been for I feel like 2 or 3 years now saying, well, it's the new Marvel one, I guess I'll go.
Yeah, that's been like the new thing is, well, new Marvel movie, might as well go see that.
I'm amazed because Marvel has successfully replicated the formula and the viewing habits of a TV show that everyone's watching but no one really likes.
Yeah,
everyone's like, I'll
and they have
next
one of those
week,
too. They have a TV show that no one really likes,
yes.
no one really watches, but it's still there for some reason.
But everyone watches these.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I don't think I've gone to a Marvel movie like
Civil War.
I forgot about Civil War.
Yeah, I wish I forgot about Civil War.
I've skipped all the sequels. Like I feel like I've seen like the first one of every one of their new little series, but I'm like, the sequel just looks like crap.
I saw Iron Man 2.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was there for that.
Oh yeah, enjoy your potatoes.
Yeah, the potato bomb is like the only fun part of that movie, I think.
That might be the last sequel that's not. Well, it's like an official sequel of theirs that I've seen that other than Captain America, I guess.
I saw the third Iron Man. That one was just painfully bad. Which everybody loved it. I don't know.
I think they just like Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. What else have we got? Number 3 is Trolls, which apparently those have come back from the 90s as well. That's made $17.5 million this weekend, and they're at $116 million total.
125.
Oh, U.S. Sorry, but 261 million worldwide. Yeah, that's not
kids
too bad.
movies. They'll make money. You throw a kids movie out there, it'll make money for the most part.
Well, I feel like you can take your kid to the movie. They'll shut up for a few minutes. Maybe if you're lucky.
Isn't that depressing?
Yeah.
I don't want to be.
They're
in that
ruining
position.
movies for you.
Well,
that's why they keep like the kids section over on the sides. You don't have to look at those DVDs. You're a discerning adult.
I suspect this is just a guess on my part. If you grow up with the mentality that your parents take you to the movies just to shut up for a second, eventually you end up going to Marvel movies on your own just to shut up for a second because you've never learned to appreciate the art.
Up. Well, I mean, if you look at this, though, I mean, that's really the only kids movie on the top 10 list.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's only 10%. I mean, I guess it makes sense for everyone to all the kids to flock to the one kids movie that's out right now.
Is Harry Beast Potter's PG?
I think it's PG-13.
Okay, so it's
bizarre.
So it's not going for the little ones then.
Yeah, PG-13. Well, I mean, you can get. I mean, PG-13 is kind of a pointless title.
Yeah, but there's a difference between the like little kid Harry Potter, those first couple ones, and then the later Harry Potters.
See, I enjoyed the style of the first two Harry Potter movies a lot better than every other movie that came after that. Like 1 and 2 looked more like
there's like whimsical kids movies.
Yeah, well, it was old timey English wizards and shit.
Not this dark, brooding, stupid thing.
Yeah, and then
finally a movie I like here.
Yes, finally, it's only at number 4. We've got Arrival. Woohoo! They're here.
The only movie about a linguistics professor on the top 10.
That's true. That's one of the last great social justice fights we have is to get linguistics back on the map.
Let's do it.
We've got. Let's see. They made $43 million total out of 47.
It's second weekend, right?
Yeah, second weekend. Not
so it'll make some money.
Only got 10 million worldwide, but I mean, I imagine it's probably not getting a huge release overseas.
I think it's probably just starting to open too. So I don't know
that's
for
true.
sure.
Do they normally come later than we do?
It depends on the movie. For something like that, it doesn't really have like a built-in huge audience, but I thought it was really good. I really liked Arrival.
I'm surprised at all the people that I've heard talking about it, because I remember seeing just like a preview somewhere, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. It's based off a short story, a little sci-fi thing. Probably just going to be a small independent film.
No,
but then I've been
50
seeing
million
trailers on TV and stuff. And,
it's
everyone's
good.
Talking about it.
It's a clever movie. It's what I really like about it is that it has a pretty simple setup, and it explores all the themes within that setup without trying to overcomplicate it or outsmart itself.
Yeah.
It's not really got twists, but it's kind of complicated and kind of just some of the narrative devices. And it was just a well done movie.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Someone told me it's pretty much a full on linguistics lessons,
That's part of it
as well. Like you get some fun little knowledge in there too. But whoever the author is of the short story, apparently I've heard that he just writes these fantastic short stories, but he just takes years off between them.
Yeah, I heard him on NPR. Did you hear that interview with him?
No, I missed that one. That's sad. Oh, that would have been a great interview.
Yeah, he was just like, he writes, I think, technical manual stuff.
Yeah, okay, I think I heard this, but I don't know if I heard the actual interview with him. They're probably just doing a preview, but yeah, he writes he takes super complex stuff written for computers and whatnot, and then he writes a manual so that people that have to work with them can look at the complex data and simplify it enough that they can understand it and stuff like that.
So that's got to be good practice.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
So I've actually never read a single short story by him, but
me either. But I need to look into it.
After Arrival, I'm definitely I'm interested.
Oh yeah,
I'm piqued.
Let's see. Then we got Almost Christmas is up here at number 5.
I don't even know if I know what that is.
I don't either, honestly.
It's got Danny Glover, Omar
cool.
Epps.
Danny Glover's cool.
The problem with not having cable is I don't really know what any movies are anymore.
And then there's just Monique. That's all there is for a name for her.
All right, but that's doing all right then. Almost.
Oh yeah, it's number 5. Or it made $7 million this weekend, $25 million total.
No, is there a budget?
17. So
yeah, they're fine then.
Little small movie. Why not?
Little small movie.
And hey, they made it on the list.
Christmas movies coming out this early in November is a kind of risky proposition. Yeah. I guess it is almost Christmas. It's not quite Christmas.
Well, I think what I've noticed now, and I realized this when we were talking about the horror movie thing, how there were no horror movies coming out on Halloween. Mm-hmm. I think they're trying to do this. Almost Christmas will come out now. Having a limited release, you'll be able to buy it on Christmas for somebody.
That seems very fast. I don't know if it's quite that fast.
I don't know, man. Star Wars came out, then it was on DVD a few weeks later. They were still showing it. They were still showing it in theaters when it was at Redbox.
Yeah, that could be true, but it also was in theaters for a very long time.
I've never seen that happen before. I was like, oh, cool, this movie's at the Redbox, and I drive by, AMC or whatever, and I'm like, oh, hey, Star Wars is there too. I'm like, wait a minute.
I don't think it was a few weeks. I think that's an
It felt like a few weeks. Hacksaw Ridge is number 6. I don't know if I know what Hacksaw Ridge is, though.
Mel Gibson.
Oh, is this Mel Gibson's movie?
Yeah.
Oh.
Conscientious Objector,
Sam
Andrew
Worthington,
Garfield.
Your favorite.
I didn't even know he still acted.
You probably just didn't even notice him. Oh, Vince Vaughn's in there? Hugo Weaving?
Vince Vaughn's in it.
Yeah, I know, right? Does Vince Vaughn do anything anymore?
The last thing I saw him in was True Detective Season 2. And I don't know if it's his fault or just the script's fault, but his character is hilarious in a really non-intentional kind of way. If you're going to watch True Detective Season 2, it is purely for the Vince Vaughn laughs that I don't think were supposed to be there.
I need to watch Season 1 first.
Season 1's great.
Okay.
Season 2 is not great, but Vince Vaughn's pretty funny in it.
What else have we got? Number 7's Edge of 17.
I watched a trailer for this over the weekend because first time I heard about it was on Mark Maron's podcast. James L. Brooks did a really long interview, and I like James L. Brooks movies, so I was curious. And apparently he's a producer on this one. I'd never heard of it. I watched the trailer. Well, so James
the best coming of age movie of whatever decade.
Now, okay, let me ask you this: you hear that? What is it that makes you not want to see that movie?
Like, well, it's not adaptation, so
come on.
I mean, it's not going to be the best one of the decade.
Genuinely, you hear the best coming of age movie of the decade. What part of that is turning you off?
Coming of age.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I watched the trailer.
I feel like we're a little bit past that now. I mean, I know some people are.
There are people who love to watch teenager movies, though.
I know,
for their whole lives,
and they won't be teenagers anymore. I mean, where do you think all this movie that's going into, or all this money that's going to Marvel is coming from?
Teenagers whose parents took them to Trolls as kids.
Yeah, and they had Captain America action figures their whole life, and they brought them to college with them, and then now they have money to go to movies, and they throw it at Marvel.
It's that, and it's the 40-year-old nerds who always read comic books.
Yeah, I was never able to get into comic books.
Neither was I.
Yeah. I don't think I ever really tried, though. Like, I think it was just kind of like an active, I never really wanted to, so I just never did.
That, to be fair, though, you don't need to try beyond just not wanting to. If you don't want to, then you just
why even try at that point? Number 8, we've got Bleed for This.
I saw a trailer for that at Arrival. Looked annoying.
Yes, because it has Miles Teller in it.
Yeah, that's probably part of it. But it also is called Bleed for This, and he's like a fighter, and he's obnoxious.
Well, the weird thing is to me, it looked exactly like Whiplash. It's like, oh, he's really good at this thing. Then he gets in a car accident. And
Does he get in a car accident in Whiplash?
Yeah.
That's the Whiplash.
That is. Well, no, the Whiplash in car accident. The Whiplash in Whiplash is
car accident. So where to find them?
The song they're playing is called Whiplash.
Oh, but he gets in
a crazy cool jazz song.
But when you get in a car accident, you get Whiplash.
Yeah, you get Whiplash. You don't want to sue for Whiplash.
Double entendre.
But yeah, and then Bleed for This, and he apparently bleeds for something. But it made $2 million,
$2.6 million budget. That's small. Okay,
that's super small. Yeah, and they managed to score Aaron Eckhart, Claire Hines. I don't know who that is. Katie Seagal. I don't know.
You've undone your own point here.
Miles Teller apparently
they managed to score all these people that I've never heard of, plus Aaron Eckhart.
Yeah, plus that guy from Thank You for Smoking.
Thank You for Smoking, I think, is a great movie.
It was fantastic. I watched it again recently.
It's so fun. It holds up.
It's hilarious. Oh, yeah.
People don't like it as much as we do, but I think
it's going to hold up even more now.
Yeah. Certainly. It's very topical.
Wow. Apparently The Accountant is still at number 9.
So I guess they're probably making a little money by now.
Ben Affleck's in here. Yeah, they made $138 million worldwide.
So they're probably at least broken even.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all right. Good job, Ben.
That's all there is to say about that one.
Another movie I haven't heard of, Shut In.
That's a horror movie of some sort, is all I know.
Ooh. Made $6 million out of an unknown $1 million budget. I mean, it's probably written somewhere, but it's not on the site that we're looking at.
Naomi Watts.
Yeah,
I like her.
That's the only person in there.
She is
the actor in that movie.
The actor.
That's literally all it says, too, is just actor, Naomi Watts. All right.
I think you're right to complain about Box Office Mojo.
Yes.
It could be much better than it is.
Oh, yeah.
And I blame Mr. Brevet because you were hired, you closed down Rope of Silicon, and what have you got to show for it?
Well, yeah, and if you scroll down to the bottom here, you see, Box Office Mojo, and then a little itty-bitty thing that says, an IMDb company. So they literally, all they have to do is write a web page. They can dig into the data they already have on IMDb and just put it over here.
I don't know why this can't just be part of IMDb.
Yeah.
Why do you need your own site for Box Office Mojo?
All you need is a little tab.
Yeah.
On the front page, push a Box Office button and have it go the other way around.
That's
probably even easier,
Yeah. Well, what's weird is on IMDb, for example, a lot of their budget stuff and box office stuff is wrong.
Weird.
But IMDb owns Box Office Mojo, so I don't understand.
Most places when they have, that kind of information, it goes into a shared database between the two websites, and it just pulls from there, and then it's on both of them at the same time, and then... No, apparently not. But
that's our top 10, right?
Yeah, that's our top 10. Shut-in's at number 10. We don't really know what it is. Oh wait, no, I think this looks like the Cabin Fever-y looking one. I think I did see a trailer for this one.
Okay.
She gets locked in a cabin or something like that with her paralyzed son, and she's like, "Oh, it's okay, we're here. He can't go anywhere anyways." And then she hears someone walking around.
That's not a bad setup at that point.
Yeah, right? It
probably gets worse from there.
Yeah, well, I'd assume so. I mean, it's a horror movie. It doesn't get any better. It's kind of the whole theme.
Yeah, I think all you need is just the setup and then the little part that's a little confusing or disturbing.
Worth a mention here is Moonlight's at number 11.
I did see that.
Oh, how was that?
It was good.
Really? Okay. See, I don't know. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to get into it, but I haven't seen it.
It's very well done, very well directed, and the acting is very good. The plot is not like a revelation. I wouldn't say.
It sounded like Boyhood.
It's like Boyhood.
It
If Boyhood
like the exact
goes
same
somewhere.
concept.
It's
Okay.
very.
Oh, okay, weird.
Well, yeah. It's the biggest problem with Boyhood. I don't know if you ever saw Boyhood.
No.
Boyhood is a very well done movie with fantastic acting, but the kid grew up to be boring, and they didn't do anything to compensate
That's
for
the
that.
point. It's just like real life, which is why I didn't feel like I needed to see it, because I feel like if I wanted to watch somebody grow up, it's like I already am.
Well, the kid doesn't have to be that boring. He turned into someone who didn't. He just was not a commanding screen presence.
What did you do that's so exciting?
What did I do?
As a
I
child.
did a little more than this kid did over the course of that whole movie. The thing is, I think Linklater couldn't have known that particular
Couldn't
kid
have made the link sooner.
would. He hires him as a kid. He's like 6 years old or whatever at the beginning.
Yeah.
You don't know that kid's going to grow up to be a terrible screen presence when he grows up.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I forgot that. Yeah, I forgot they did it like that.
Yeah, so it was literally shot over the course
Wow.
of 12 years. And
Wasn't Sam Rockwell in that movie? They come back to him over like every 12 years or so, every 6 years. Was it Sam Rockwell? Who's in that movie?
oh, Ethan Hawke's in it. Is that
Ethan
who you're thinking
Hawke.
of?
That's who I am.
It's like, I don't think Sam Rockwell was in it. But no, Ethan Hawke, Patricia Arquette. And Ethan Hawke is phenomenal in it. And his character was interesting. He's not in all of them even, but he's very good. And it was fun to watch his part. But the problem is if you got 3 hours and the kid's boring at the end.
It's just the boring 3 hours.
I thought the first half was really good. And then I just got progressively more detached from it as it went on.
See, someone told me that Moonlight's pretty dang slow.
Moonlight's slow. It's a stylish movie.
Yeah.
It's something where you're in it for the style, and it's articulating certain things that are sort of unsaid. But it's definitely like you see him at the 3 different points in his life. You see him age, and there's interesting implications, and all of it is in there. There's a couple parts that are just beautifully done, and yeah, I liked it.
Okay, I might go see it if it rolls through the dollar theater or something. Maybe I'll get it on Redbox or whatever. We'll see. Or Family Video.
Family Video. You still go there?
Oh, it's fantastic.
You know, I noticed is the Hollywood Videos. There's a couple of them that they still haven't even placed anything in the stores anymore.
Oh, really? Okay, so that's weird. Like it's just an old Hollywood video.
Maybe they should have just bought all the DVDs and opened a local one.
They sold all of them. I remember you going there.
I bought
a whole bunch.
60.
I think.
And I still haven't watched all of them.
Well,
because you know when they're like $1, you're like, yeah, I might watch this at some point, and then you don't watch it ever because you're like
half price books, man.
Oh yeah,
I go to that clearance rack and I get like a whole. I don't even like look at the actual half price stuff anymore. I just
like I say, I don't even look at the books. I just grab a shelf.
I start with the books, and then I go to the movies, and that's
I do the exact same thing. It's bad.
What are you reading now? What you got book wise?
What am I reading now? I just finished the Book of Strange New Things, which was interesting. It's about...
I'd hope it's interesting, with that kind of title.
Yes. It's about a preacher who gets chosen to go to an off-world colony that's been set up.
Oh, fun.
To be the preacher to the indigenous people on that planet.
I didn't peg you as a science fiction reader.
No, I generally don't, but it got a rave review from David Mitchell on the back.
Okay.
So I'll read whatever David Mitchell has
Dave
to
likes
read.
it, I guess.
If
I do
Dave
too.
likes it, yeah. So it was interesting. So he is up there, and the weird thing is that the indigenous people have demanded a preacher for them, a new one, because the other one disappeared. So it's kind of this weird setup. Yeah. And he's up there, and actually it's pretty, like, they are very receptive to his message, and everyone's very cooperative up there. But he had to... Basically, most of the people up there, or basically everyone up there is single, and he has a wife back home. And so he gets these... it's basically like email. It's called The Shoot, and so he can talk to her. And through the emails, basically, you get this apocalyptic story. As the world is falling apart back home, he's up there with, like, no conflict, really.
Oh, okay.
And so he's trying to talk to her and figure that out, as it's got the secret, like, secretly it's this dystopian apocalyptic novel in addition to this exploration of faith and the science fiction thing. And
I was expecting some kind of, like, vaguely non-fiction-y, like a book of strange new things, It's like,
that's true. It does sound like
I was expecting a book of, strange new things I haven't heard of yet. But no, this sounds cool, too.
It was a good book. I enjoyed it.
Check that out, yeah.
How about you? What are you reading these days?
I'm working on Gravity's Rainbow. I've actually made a good amount of progress.
How far are you?
I'm
in?
at like page 50.
That takes a long time.
Dude,
like
I've never had to read a book so slowly before.
I know.
Like I usually I could just I read kind of quick normally, and I just kind of go and like this one I'm like I have to like sit and read through every sentences and like.
And you have to go back and reread, and you're like,
God,
wait,
yeah.
what?
I know. Like,
What's
I've
happening?
I've never heard so many words that I didn't know, and I feel like most of them are like very like just era specific like words about stuff that's going on during World War II, and I'm like I don't even know what that means, and like
Now, I have like an idea of what the first 150 pages were about, but I couldn't even really tell you.
It's weird because there's like the guy who's kind of psychic, maybe, and then it's like I don't know, bombs are dropping and stuff. And,
Yeah, he has sex and bombs drop.
yeah, he has his map where everyone he's banged is. And,
Yes. So what I've gathered is that where he has sex, bombs fall.
Yes.
And that's about as much as I really got.
That's what I know so far too.
Okay.
That's also what's written on the back of the book. So that's
I don't think it's on the back of the one I have.
Oh, it's on the back of the one I read, and it's.
I'm just like, The Grand Masterpiece by Thomas Pynchon.
Yeah,
That's
I'm enjoying it though. He really likes his ellipses.
Yeah,
like there are ellipses in like every other sentence, like da 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 da.
Mr. Ellipsis.
Like it's like you're reading him as he trails off, like constantly. It's just like
maybe we should just have a Gravity's Rainbow book club.
That'd be fun.
Where we can.
It's kind of like Infinite Jest, you know.
Yes, we can do Infinite Jest. Well, I've cheated. I can't go back and do that now. But
did you ever finish it?
I did finish it.
What?
Yes.
You finally finished it?
Yes.
Oh wow.
It was. Honestly, it's not as hard just on like a sentence by sentence level as Gravity's Rainbow.
Oh,
it's just
sure, yeah.
it's overwhelming in that same kind of way though, where you're like, I don't know where to put all the information that I'm getting because I don't know where it fits or where it's important or whether it's important or why it's important. Yeah. Which is tough. But yeah, Gravity's we can do is like a book club where we have to read a certain amount, so it forces us
read 2 pages a week, and then,
then in a few years we'll be able to do a retrospective. We'll look back.
Is Pynchon still alive?
Pynchon is still alive.
Oh, okay, cool.
He had one come out a few years ago called Bleeding Edge.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that half-price books. I considered picking it up.
I was in a point where I was like, I'm just going to buy all the Pynchon books, and then I still haven't made it through Gravity's Rainbow, and I'm like, I'm not going to buy a single other one until I'm done with Gravity's Rainbow, which hopefully next year I will finish it.
Inherent Vice was really good.
And my understanding is that one is a little more accessible.
It's a lot more condensed, I think. Like it's less like it's still really wordy, like in a weird kind of way. Like it's all I don't even know how to describe his kind of wordiness. Like he uses very interesting like adjectives and just the way he actually describes things. It's not like overly wordy, but it's I don't even know how to put it really.
Well, I hope that one day we both have read Gravity's Rainbow. Yeah, and we can talk about it. Okay, that's my goal.
I'm determined to finish it before I start a new book, though.
That's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be very hard.
It's work. There was a point where I was on vacation and I brought out vacation. I thought this just feels a little bit too much like work.
You need something a little more fun.
Yeah.
I've been reading it at work, so it's like
work at work.
Yeah, working at work. I take a break and it's like I never stopped working.
All right, so tell me the Spinal Tap story.
Oh yeah, Spinal Tap. So well, first off, I just watched this movie for the first time, like a long ass time.
First time ever?
First time ever.
Okay.
Watched it. It was funny. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I like Spinal Tap. It's a good movie. Yeah. Anyways, so the reason why I remember to watch it was because I was flipping through Facebook or some news site or whatever, and there was a news article about one of the guys from Spinal Tap suing Vivendi for not getting paid, like hardly at all. He got $81 out of merchandising, and then $90 out of his music contributions to the film. Harry Shearer. He made $170 off of Spinal Tap because Vivendi financed it in such a way that it looks like they didn't make any money off of it.
So he got a back end deal instead of any upfront money for it.
Yes, essentially. And he ended up making $179 out of the 20 years, like from the release until now. That's how much money he's gotten out of merchandising and music, which there's no way that they didn't make money because Spinal Tap t-shirts were everywhere for a while. Everyone knows that. Like Spinal Tap shit's all over everything.
They didn't spend that much on that movie.
No, not at all.
You don't need to make astronomical amounts of money.
And so he's suing for $125 million, trying to get some money.
Does he have any reason to think that they've made that much specifically? Does it say in there?
I don't
know how.
I don't believe so.
Like I know with the author of Forrest Gump, they did the same thing where they told him that he would get some percentage of the profits, and then they claim they've never made a profit on Forrest Gump. Now, but I don't know how you prove that they've made X amount of money necessarily.
I assume you have to dig through all their finances from everything.
Now, the other question is, does Harry Shearer, who makes a lot of money from The Simpsons every year, need more money? And is Harry Shearer
Well,
getting worse?
it's not a matter of if you need the
But
money. It's a matter of if you're owed the money. If you were told that you were going to get paid for what you're doing, you'd expect to get paid for it.
Now, Harry Shearer is a co-writer on the movie, credited as a co-writer. Obviously, he's one of the main members of the band. Does this mean that Christopher Guest and Michael McKean also did not make any money?
I don't know.
Because there's no reason why Harry Shearer should have a worse deal than the other two.
I mean, unless this is specifically for like the merchandising money he was supposed to get, and it sounds like he did some work on the music itself.
Oh, is this for the soundtrack or for the movie?
Both.
Oh, okay.
He was supposed to get paid for the soundtrack as well, which he got $98 from that out of 22 years.
God, this is like our paychecks from our movies.
I know. Yeah, well, exactly. That's that's probably why he's pissed off. He's like, he's like, back when I was making my own films, I made more than this. But yeah, $81 out of merchandising. I feel like there's Spinal Tap merchandise everywhere.
I would think that's a
like
fair assumption.
You walk into a Hot Topic and there's a Spinal Tap shirt in there somewhere. Maybe and then there's someone wearing one.
I've got a theory.
Yeah.
So Spinal Tap, directed by Rob Reiner, and basically everyone attributes the mockumentary thing to Christopher Guest.
Okay.
Now, Christopher Guest went on to direct all the other ones like A Mighty Wind, Best in Show, Waiting for Guffman, etc. And basically all the people from maybe not all the people, a lot of the main people from Spinal Tap, including McKean, Shearer, Fred Willard, Ed Begley. I don't know if Ed Begley was in it, actually, I don't remember. But they all came back and joined the troupe of Christopher Guest movies. Interestingly, Rob Reiner never is involved with any of them. And the only reason why I suspect that there might be some bad blood there for real is Guest's movie For Your Consideration. Did you ever see that one?
No.
So that one's about this. You have so it's an independent little movie called Home for Purim. It's like a very Jewish little independent movie, and it's like a bunch of, for the most part, out of touch older actors who are in it, or just out of touch kind of general actors who are in it. And somebody says that they saw on the internet that somebody was saying there's Oscar buzz for the performances in the movie. So they all start freaking out, and they take it all really seriously. And basically, their performances are a lot worse as a result of that, and they're doing a much worse.
Yeah.
Like everyone involved with the production has this new sense of self-seriousness and
like
craziness.
When you're improving, you kind of have to just let it go.
No, this is like in the plot of the movie.
I thought it was like
No.
I thought you were saying like in general, like they got like psyched out of it and just kind of end up making a shitty movie.
No, but I'm kind of going there anyway.
Okay.
Not about For Your Consideration, though. But the plot of that movie is this small independent drama that has a bunch of people who think they're going to get Oscars now, so they're really self-important, and it's the way that messes with their psyche.
Yeah.
And Christopher Guest was asked something about it. It was probably just some question. I don't remember exactly, but it was like, has that happened to you on a movie that you've done? And he says, there is one person I've worked with in the entire time I've made movies who heard about Oscar buzz and changed dramatically as a person and has never been the same or somebody that I would work with again as a result of it.
Who?
He never said who it was.
Is it Harry?
I'm thinking it's Rob.
Oh, Rob. Okay, yeah, because he didn't come back. Okay, yeah.
Why has everyone else come back to these movies? Rob Reiner directed this as Spinal Tap. He's nowhere to be seen. They don't seem to really do much together. Although, it must have been later because Guest was in a few other Rob Reiner movies after Spinal Tap. Like he's in Princess Bride and some other ones. So I don't really know when it would have happened, but...
So this says that he was assigned 40% of the net profits from the film and all related licensing. Yes, licensing, music, and Spinal Tap Productions, a joint venture, blah blah blah, with all them. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so he was supposed to be getting 40%, and he got $179.
I see why he
out of 22 years.
I see why he thinks that's off. That was more than 22 years. It's got to be. Or was the soundtrack released later or something?
I don't know. And it's talking about how even with like there was a Criterion re-release and all this other stuff and soundtrack reissuings, and like he still didn't just get anything.
Well, sounds like he's got a good case.
The official package shows that they made $200,000 off Spinal Tap.
Who did?
The vendor.
Oh, okay. Well, interesting. I don't know what to say about that.
Interesting, yeah.
Well, that about wraps up Quad 2. We'll go to our second break here. We'll be back with Quad 3, wherein we talk about...
I don't even think we've ever introduced Quad 3. We normally just,
we just cut
start,
it off. Yeah. Well, stay tuned for some fascism talk.
Oh, yes.
Fascism. Yes.
Fascism, yeah. You know, welcome to it. You know?
I think we went really long with segment 2 there, partially because we didn't want to talk about this.
Well, I don't know enough about fascism ideal to really give a good outlook on it. You know,
Trump is not really a fascist because we have just enough levels of government that it's not. I know everyone says that, and I mean that more as like.
But they took over all those levels, so that was the problem, and they all kind of seem a little
I guess if you view all Republicans as basically being like one person, metaphorically, it can be like metaphorically fascistic. But I don't. It's more of just about the idea of a person who is powerful and not necessarily good ruling things, and so.
Okay. That's not fascism.
No, I mean, I'm taking the mentality of basically like a government that maybe is either drastically different in a way that is perceived as negative, as sort of a way to create the sort of reaction in art that might be comparable to when we're talking about fascism.
Okay,
it's not gonna be the same thing, certainly.
No.
It's not like
turn in like 1940s Italy or something. Like.
No, I don't think so, and. I guess what it really comes down to is you've had a lot of people feel safe who I don't think feel safe now. I think that's going to affect some of it.
Okay.
And I don't think it's really going to affect independent movies that much.
Nah, maybe. I don't know. They might get a little more bold, I think.
Yeah, they might get more topical and protesty.
Yeah.
But
there'll be a lot of blonde, swept-over hair politicians, I'm sure, in some of these movies, you know, who are totally not Trump, you know, but probably are.
I think... Well, okay, one of the things I wanted to mention was specifically, you look at something like Civil War.
Yeah.
The movie. The Marvel movie.
Oh, that one. I was like, okay, like, you know.
Not this Civil War.
Yeah.
I don't think that's happening either, but you look at some of the Marvel movies, and I guess the DC universe now, they sort of skirt with being related to government to being related to some of these things, and I don't think... you can have some of the sort of like semi-political themes that they have without looking at it differently now because you have Donald Trump in office.
Yeah. Maybe they'll work it into the plot line. Like, you know, have him be part of Hydra and they take over.
Well, that makes more sense because even, I mean, for as much as...
you voted for Hydra?
Captain America basically just wants to have absolute power anyway to stop people from having absolute power.
Whatever he wants.
Yeah, even though that is not... really the right way. He does have this idea of like inclusivity of some of these more progressive ideals, certainly as like a vague sort of way of doing some of these things.
The big plot twist that apparently happened in the comic book was he's
Hydra.
Yeah, he's secretly working for Hydra. So maybe he is. He like whips off his mask and, you know, he's got a spray tan underneath there. It's Donald. It's not...
Well, I guess I don't know. Well so okay, remind me. Yeah. Civil War ends where he has gone renegade against the government.
Like again, right?
Yeah, he's always going renegade, but he does it again
because he is America. America doesn't follow America's rules.
Him and Iron Man, their main disagreement was Iron Man's like, hey, this isn't going to really change anything, but can you just sign this? Because then they'll pretend like we're all working with it.
He's like, hey, man, we blew up like 3 cities in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
we should probably, you know, cut it down to 1, like every 5, maybe.
Captain America's like, you can't have absolute power. You can't have absolute power. You can't control me. I'm going to have absolute power. It's mine. I'm going to make sure no one else does anything wrong because I'm going to have it.
Well, and everyone's like blowing stuff up because they're there. And maybe if they just, you know, laid low a little bit, people would stop trying to blow up the city, you know.
Maybe they should answer to somebody.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe you don't need to have absolute, complete control over what you do when you are causing a lot of damage and casualties.
Yeah.
I don't think that's so unfair.
I mean, sometimes, you know, you're not enough to be responsible.
Or just like the idea that, hey, maybe you should read the thing before you say it's evil. Like,
is he even like invincible? I don't get Captain America. What's his whole thing? I know his shield is.
He's stronger, but it seems like they just bend the rules however they want with that.
Because I feel like, you know, if someone just like if he gets shot, would he die? Like,
probably.
Because I feel like Tony almost got him at one point.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess I remember watching that movie and thinking this is not a good political message because you have somebody who believes his ideals so much that he's not willing to even listen to if what the other person is saying actually conflicts with his ideals.
It's like I want to be free. And he tries to run.
Like when you hand the guy the bill to sign or like the law, or I can't even remember what exactly it was.
Yeah. I think it was just like a proposal.
He didn't even look at it.
He got that far.
He's just like no.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like that is a good example of a unhealthy partisan politics.
Maybe he's just illiterate and can't read it.
So.
Like,
He didn't go to school.
No.
He's not educated. He's never taken a political science class.
He's been asleep for 80 years. He just forgot.
He grew up on World War II propaganda.
Yeah.
So I don't know that we can expect him to have critical thinking skills.
Yeah.
Can we? But the things that they're going to be fighting for, the ideals that they're fighting for, I think are going to be a little bit at odds with the Trump administration. And so I guess I'm interested even, how does Marvel handle intolerance in the White House?
Maybe they just won't even think about it. They have their own president in the Marvel universe.
Who's president in Marvel? Do they even talk about him?
I don't think so.
Well, I think we're not going to see cool guy Morgan Freeman president for the next 4 years.
No.
I think that might be over.
Well, he has to go back to playing God now instead of president. He's
died and
roles
become
have
God
gotten
again.
Down,
And then, okay, so DC, you saw Suicide Squad.
God, yeah.
Isn't that a government agency?
Yeah.
What are the politics of that movie?
Well, they're like, you guys are good at shooting people. You should come shoot some people for us. And that was pretty much it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in Batman vs. Superman, if you can remember back that far, I barely can.
Yeah, I mean, that's my problem with Suicide Squad. It's kind of like blockbuster that.
The government in that one was basically saying, Superman, why are you above the law?
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying, I don't pretend I'm above the law, and then they all got blown up, right?
Yeah. I mean, Superman, though, he was kind of like, I guess at the end of, the first one, wasn't... I guess you never saw Man of Steel.
I never saw Man of Steel.
At the end of Man of Steel, he's pretty much like, I just want to kind of go mind my own business. He's like, I'm going to go hang out at my Fortress of Solitude, and they kept sending, drones after him and shit. So he was like, cut it out, I just want to chill up here.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, pretty much. That's the vibe I got. But then, yeah.
So, in that sense, though, you don't have him taking on the law on his own.
No, I don't...
He's, reluctantly drawn in to save
I feel
things.
he was kind of laying low for the most part. And then, yeah. I mean, that was his whole thing through the whole beginning of the movie was he knows that he's Superman, but he just kind of, tries to lay low and just do good shit for people every once in a while.
It's like you're driving and you see, a kitten on the street.
Yeah, and you get
and you're like,
the kitten.
oh, I'm in a rush, but I got to go save that kitten because otherwise I'm going to get run over.
Yeah.
I feel like that's Superman.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's inherently...
That's what Superman's supposed to be, though. He's...
well, without maybe the sigh, oh, God, I'm in a rush. But that's inherently less political, I think, than the Captain America approach to it.
Yeah.
And I'm confused because I think Marvel seems like they do want to have this anti-establishment thing with the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tony...
But they don't want to go too hard anti-establishment because that'd be too... I don't think they think it's a good idea to get the kids who are obviously watching the movie to be like, yeah, fuck the government,
But don't you think you can kind of draw that conclusion with the way that they portray Captain America as if he's actually really righteous, even though I don't really understand how he is?
Well, I guess at the end of the movie he's like, I was right. They lock up everybody who's superpowered or whatever.
But they locked up Bucky.
Then he breaks him out. Remember at the end, everyone's on that little island. Not little island, but
then they put Bucky in the.
They put Bucky in the box.
They put Bucky in the box again.
What?
So he's all mad about it. The other thing is too.
I missed all the movies where Bucky is important. I guess.
I didn't
watch any of the Captain America movies.
I watched the first one. I fell asleep in theaters. That's I think the second.
3 was a Captain America movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I keep thinking it's an Avengers movie.
No,
I can't even keep the series straight.
So
anymore.
Second one, I watched a half hour of, and then I was like, I'm not gonna like this, and I didn't watch anymore.
I didn't watch a single second of that one.
But I guess Bucky was the Winter Soldier in that one.
Okay.
Because he's just normal soldier, I think, in the first one, but I don't really remember because I fell asleep.
He gets a robot arm though at one point, doesn't he?
Yeah, I don't know where.
And Tony Stark tears it off. I don't even remember.
This has just turned into Captain America. But
this
I guess
is fascism.
So,
fascism good for art? What do you think?
Well, I mentioned this to Ben actually over the weekend, and
really?
Ben's reaction was that it makes sense that under stressed times, if you're creating art, perhaps there is more of an inclination to be passionate about what it is you want to say and put it out there because there's more skin in the game.
I feel that too. My look on it is that no one... I mean, I don't really see much art, I feel, that came out of someone in a good state of mind. You're not really oh man, I'm having a great day. I'm going to go draw something really cool. I'm going to make this awesome movie. It's I feel like you're more inspired when there's stress on you.
Stress and then passion, I think, is supposed to come out of the stress.
And this kind of general discontent kind of brings you on to this thought of how can I change things? How can I fix things? What can
I do?
Yeah, what can I do? And so then, you end up making something. And maybe it wasn't even your intent necessarily to have that kind of, vibe into it, but you kind of get this thing rolling, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're making anti-fascist art, and you don't even know it.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that's a great answer to it, and a great way to kind of explain it. And the question then becomes, can the stressed artist overcome the studio system to even make a difference?
Maybe.
Like, the Marvel directors, I don't think it matters whether they're stressed or passionate or not.
No, it's just a matter of how much money they've got in their pockets at the moment.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I think on the independent film scene, it'll be more interesting.
You'll probably have more direct reactions, which will be interesting.
Well, I think we're kind of running into the same things with independent films recently. Like, we have Boyhood 2 now.
Black Boyhood.
Well, I mean, it's even like the same concept. It's the same kind of check in at 3 points in the kid's life.
Except Boyhood was 12 points.
12 different points? I thought it was just 3. I thought it was like beginning, middle, end. Anyway.
They filmed for 3 days every year for 12 years.
Oh, weird. Okay.
So Moonlight is not really just Boyhood the same way, because it's not even the same actor over the course of it all. It's different. It's one of those segmented ones. But yeah.
I'm hoping maybe we get something a little more interesting and new out of some fascism. We'll see.
I'm hoping we can do away with the coming of age with this.
Oh, no, that's never going to. No, if anything, that's going to get worse, because now there's going to be kids who are like, I'm coming of age in this fascist dictatorship. They're actually going to live out their like Hunger Game fantasy.
I've thought about this. This is actually another thing I want to touch on, which is dystopia has been so popular.
Oh yeah, it's life imitating art. We're making it happen.
Yes,
we're making a dystopia for us to rise out of.
Is there anything more dystopic than Donald Trump being president and potentially living in Trump Tower instead of the White House?
No, it's like
that is out of a dystopian.
Yeah, it's word for word. Like, I'm trying to think of a good one, but like they're all the same.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. And,
do teenagers just need something to rebel against? Like, literally go set an uprising?
Like, it's important. I think it's important for them to learn that they can be against something. I think that's all that's happening. Really. So this is like their first time where they can be like, I'm against this.
We need a bunch of these Hunger Games ripoffs where they just go and vote to solve the problem.
Yeah, right.
And then it'll
democracy. And then people will actually vote. Maybe
it'll be romanticized. Yeah. They'll be like, I can't wait to go vote against those evil fascists.
That's what we need. Like, Jesus. Like, I kept hearing that the voting turnout was supposed to be higher than, like, any other year. This was supposed to be a historic record. And then, like, less people voted. Like,
it was pretty big. But, yeah, it was down in size. It was like, depends on the demographic, really. Yeah. It wasn't the highest ever.
Very disappointed. See, I've never even voted before, and I voted this time around because I felt like it was important. Yeah, this is I feel like a bigger deal of an election than some of the other ones. So I don't know.
I think it sounds like you will be voting more as a result of this.
I'm going to go for midterms. I'm going for midterm elections. I'm not even kidding.
You know what? I saw a 26-year-old guy is throwing his hat in the ring to be mayor of Omaha.
Ah, it's exciting. I'm going to vote for him just because.
I don't know anything else about him. I just heard a brief little thing.
Yeah, let's look into it. See what we can do for him. We can make him some campaign films.
Let's go become his speechwriters.
Well, I'm just thinking for like we can do his campaign commercials. Do some slam commercials on whoever our mayor is.
I'm 26, but
I'm twice as old as on the inside.
But I'm an old soul.
I have the experience of a 62-year-old.
We'll try to make him seem really old, so he's like sitting
fields with the Nebraska voters.
Smoking cigars, drinking scotch.
Right.
Can you make your voice more rugged sounding?
I'm not really surprised, but I mean, when the polling place I went to, everyone there was old as hell.
Well, that's why Trump won, I guess.
Nebraska. I feel like they were all staring at me too.
Yeah, because they know.
Like, there's the Democrat, you know. It's
I love that it'd be like voter intimidation by old people.
Yeah, right. Shaking their heads at me, just
trip them with your cane.
I'm also very disappointed that we have paper ballots here. I thought we were beyond that.
I think the idea is that that's actually safer, though, because you can't hack a paper ballot in the same way.
You can, though. I mean,
like, you erase it?
No, but like it can still happen, though. I mean, it gets slid through a machine, and there could be something wrong with that machine.
Yes. But the idea is
it's not like
you can't like literally hack the whole rigging thing. Hack the rigging thing. You can't hack the thing and rig it that way. Well, I feel like I'm talking. I don't know.
I know you're talking like an old man. We'd be perfect.
You can't hack the thing and rig.
These Ruskies are hacking our machines.
We need to protect cyber.
Yeah. Did you see that terrible the CSI cyber thing?
No.
Oh man, they tried to make a spin-off of CSI where it was all cyber crimes, and man, it looked awful. Like I saw like 5 minutes, and it's exactly what you'd expect of
Well, maybe fascism will be good for CSI.
Yeah, we'll see. Political crimes. And whatnot.
Political crimes.
House of Cards might be getting interesting if that's still around. I don't even
That's
know.
true.
I don't even know if they're still making more seasons of that. But
So our takeaway from this hour
whoa.
is it's going to be harder to ignore